how do you create the perfect price for your product? Hey good people, this is Arthur Toole with the Ideas to Profits in 9 Steps, and today we're going to cover step number 5, and it is by far the trickiest thing to complete for first-time entrepreneurs, and that is, how do you create the perfect price for your product? So I'm going to hit you with 4 P's, okay, 4 P's. If you do this, you'll be on the way to creating that perfect price for your first product. And then I'll give you some things that I learned along the way, okay? So the first P is product creation, okay? What does it cost to produce your product, all right? So for instance, if you have a class, like a virtual class, then if you're using Kajabi, if you're using Teachable, if you're using Udemy, like they have cost, right? You're gonna, then how are you gonna pay for it? If you're gonna use PayPal, so people can pay through PayPal, PayPal has cost, right? So even if it's a virtual class, there are costs in there. Are you going to use like a autoresponder, or are you going to have a CRM system? That has cost. If you're going to produce a physical product like what we're doing with the oil, what is the cost for the bottle? What is the cost for the raw materials? What is the cost for mailing your products? You got to get all those costs, put it in a spreadsheet, calculate how much that is. And you're going to have 2 different types of costs. You have fixed costs, meaning that the costs are going to stay the same every month. And then you have variable costs, which means the cost is going to change based on the volume of product you're going to sell. So for instance, fixed costs would be rent, right? That won't change. But for us, a variable cost is the bottle, right? We may need 20 bottles the first month, 200 bottles the second month, which means we're going to order a different amount of bottles, which means the cost on that particular line will go up or go down. Make sense? Okay. Now, that's the first P. The second P is promotion. Once you build it, you gotta let people know that it's out there. I know you remember that movie, it was like, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, you will come. No, that doesn't happen, okay? You gotta let everybody know that you exist. And that's going to be some cost, okay? So if you're going to do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, if you're going to do, search engine optimization, all these things are going to have costs either in dollars or in time. So you got to factor that in too, right? And don't worry if you don't get it right the first time. I mean, this is one of those things that you're going to keep iterating, right? Now, the third P is people costs, right? You're going to have to pay yourself something. You're going to have to pay, like for instance, a lot of the blogs that I'm working on right now, I had someone to create the initial draft of them, right? Because I want to create 30 blogs for the website so that people can get some really valuable information, and that also it can rank, right? So I went to Upwork and hired someone for that. Because I didn't really know how to do pins at the time, I debated on hiring someone from Upwork to do the pins for me, but I'm gonna end up doing that myself, right? So I have to pay those people, okay? I have to pay myself something real small, because remember, we're gonna reinvest everything back into the business and for the first year, but there's a cost with that. So get all the costs that you're gonna have to pay out to people and write that down, okay? And then it brings you to the last one, and this one is the most important one. This one is gonna keep you in the business and help you to not burn out, okay? The last P is peace of mind. How much money do you have to make in profit to say that it's worth it? Okay, so if you're creating, I don't know, making apples, right? And it costs you $5 for every apple that you make, and you sell it for $5.02. Yeah, you'll make a profit on every apple, but will you really be satisfied that you made 2 cents? Right? And only you can determine what that is. And this is the part that makes people scared and afraid, because they feel like if they price themselves too high, people won't come and buy it. If they price themselves too low, people won't value it. And while there's some truth to that, what you have to be concerned with is your peace of mind. If you make sure that your product or your service creates real value, like real value, then you can adjust the cost, okay? Think of your favorite restaurant. You go there because the food is amazing, even though you know you can go to the grocery store and get that same raw materials for a quarter of the price, but you go there because you enjoy it. So people will go to what they enjoy. One last thing I want to tell you, if you price yourself too low, okay, people will not see the value, and then you have to work hard. If you price yourself too high, people will back off, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, okay? If you find that every time you put your product out, everybody says yes, nobody flinches, you may be charging yourself too low, okay? Now, when all that's done, before you go out to market, then it's time for you to go out and look at what your competition is doing. So if you have a widget and you're charging 20 bucks and you're satisfied with that, and then you go out to the market and you see that everybody else is charging 30 bucks, do you go up in price? Well, you could, but you created yours where you're satisfied at and you can stay there, right? But what if the reverse happens? You created your widget and you price it at 20 bucks and everyone else is pricing theirs at 15, right? Which means that you're now the high-end person. Do you lower your price? No, you don't lower your price because you've already configured what you need to produce your product. You know it creates value and you have your peace of mind built in there. What you do is you add things to it to make it worth the $20. They'll make it worth someone saying, I can get the product here for $15, but because this is so much more valuable to me, I'm willing to pay $20. Make sense? Okay, now I want you to go through this, put all these costs in Excel, send it to me, I'll look at it, I'll edit it, and I'll send it back to you, okay? Unless I get flooded, but I'll let you know. All right, you gotta do this part. Don't just go out there and throw some random price or you'll get random sales. And that's not what we want, right? Okay, that's it for today. Let's get to work.